Hello everyone, my name is Reed, and welcome to Storytime. Today we are going to be reading some I Don't Work Here Lady stories. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Oh, and if you haven't noticed, I'm still filling in for Jake, but don't worry, he'll be back soon. Indian Karen gets annoyed when I don't help her with her shopping and when I can't offer information about the sales. Well, today I was at Zara. Their sale had just begun. My Zara sales strategy is to check for what I like and then cross my fingers and hope the same stuff in my size is still available 2 to 3 weeks later when the prices are slashed to the lowest. I've managed to score shoes, including heels and boots, for as low as $5 to $13 and dresses for around $11 to $18. All rates converted from INR, Indian rupees, to USD, US dollars. A lot of people don't get my train of thought, but if you look at it this way, when there's a sale, people tend to get impulsive and end up buying things they won't actually wear. I'm the same. That's why I wait for the slashed prices until others have had their pick and leave it to the universe to see what remains for me. It works. Anyway, on to my story. I was looking at black boots. My current pair is on the last leg and I need to find a nice replacement. The sale items are marked down from 85 USD to about 56 USD. I was looking for styles I liked and checking to see if my size was available. I have huge feet, so most of the time I tend to get my size easily. I come across a pair I like and on closer inspection realized the pair I was looking at was paired incorrectly. They were 2 different styles of boots and weren't even the same length. They just have similar studs around the edge, so someone made an easy mistake and put them together. Probably an overworked retail staff member since Zara gets really crazy over the weekends, especially when on sale. So I picked up the one I liked and tried it on. It fit well, so I looked around for the other missing shoe to complete this pair. I found it 12 to 13 boots away. Trying to do the decent thing, I swapped the wrong styles and matched the pairs, only to realize that one of the pairs I put together had 2 different sizes. Now, I was lashed into this. I felt like I couldn't just leave it like that. I remember once when my intern bought shoes from Zara in the past. I work in fashion and events and am a fashion stylist. They both happen to be different sizes. One was 39 and the other was 40. So yeah, I spent all of 3 minutes matching the pairs together. And then enters the antagonist of my story, an Indian Karen in a traditional Indian outfit. OP also said somewhere up top that he was also Indian, they're in India, so this isn't like racist or anything. She was clearly shopping for someone else, maybe a daughter? Anyway, as I was still squatting by the shoes I just put together, she walks right into me, causing me to almost lose my balance and demands, in Hindi, that I find a size 39 in the shoe I just placed down. Since I had a look at most of the shoe sizes merely a minute ago, I was able to point out where the correct size was. Also, thanks to my profession, I have the ability to look at a shoe and know its size without looking with an 85% accuracy. Indian Karen seems satisfied for a minute and I rise and turn to walk away. She stops me. She starts asking how long the sale will last. Using my own knowledge, I said maybe 2 to 3 weeks, but I said I wasn't really sure. She didn't seem too happy with my response. Next, she pointed to a rack and asked why those denims weren't on sale. And again, I had no response, so I said I don't know. She seemed to look disgusted with me. I started to politely explain how I don't work here, only to be interrupted by a younger, pretty girl. Definitely her daughter, a modern version of Indian Karen. This girl has taken all her fashion and style tips from Instagram influencers, so she's on trend with her style. Of course, she's mixed at least 5 different trends together, which in my opinion is too many, but I can see the effort. She begins to grab the shoes from her mother while also juggling an ample amount of clothing in her hands. And just as she does, she drops a couple of pieces. I plan my exit while the mother and daughter are occupied getting their things in order. "Excuse me!" The girl voice shoots out and her mother stares daggers at me as I was starting to walk away from them. Her mother yells at me to get them a shopping bag. I point to a rack in the corner and say, "They're right there." The girl says, "Can you get them for us?" I was now enjoying myself because I kept thinking, OMG, I actually have a submission for I Don't Work Here Lady. So I looked at the girl and said, "No." She looked surprised and her mother started to burst with rage. She then begins complaining to her daughter in Gujarati about what an annoying person I was and how unhelpful I was being, and how I'm not interested in my job and it's a wonder how they hired me since it seems that all I care about is only wearing makeup and pretty dresses that aren't work appropriate. I let her finish, and then I look squarely at the daughter and say, "I don't work here, I'm shopping here just like you two. Your mom asked for help with the shoes, so I helped her, but that's where I draw the line. I'm not getting you a shopping bag and holding your items for you because again, I don't work here. Then I'll look at the mother and say, "You're welcome, by the way." The girl looks so embarrassed and apologizes to me. The mother looks all confused and still really doesn't understand what just happened. The daughter drags her away and starts talking to her sharply in Gujarati. Meanwhile, I decide I've had enough of Zara for now and will return towards the end of this month. Hopefully the daughter learns how not to be a Karen from watching her mother's poor example. Or is it a great example because she was an awesome Karen? Would you like some cheese with your wine? Get it? Backstory. I am a federal government employee who had just finished a successful business trip. I'm flying home and had a layover in a large international airport. I had a long layover and had gotten a bite to eat and got no notifications about my gate being moved from one side of the airport to the other. I, and several other unlucky passengers, had gone to the original gate and sat wondering where the plane was as it was time to board. We finally find an employee who tells us the gate was changed and it's now boarding and set to take off in 8 minutes. We all take off sprinting for the correct gate. For the record, I'm a 55-year-old woman who runs 10K races, so I wasn't doing too badly at this. I get to the correct gate and tried to pull up my boarding pass on my phone. It wouldn't work! I made a few more attempts to pull it up, but it didn't work. The gate clerk asked me to wait and she would print one up. I was the last to board the plane, but I made the flight. It should be smooth sailing from here. Boy, was I wrong. This was a small commuter jet with 2 seats on one side and 1 on the other. My seat was towards the rear of the plane on the single seat side. I walked down the aisle and encountered a rather rotund, angry man. His leg was sticking out in the aisle and I didn't see it as I had my carry-on bag in front of me. I bumped his leg. "I'm so sorry, I didn't see your leg."
You should be sorry. Watch where the freak you're going from now on.
"I apologize again, but could you please move your leg so I can get to my seat?" He scowls at me but moves his leg. I place my bag under the seat and buckle my belt. After about 15 minutes, we still have not left the gate. The passengers are starting to wonder why. The pilot came on to tell us that there will be a delay as the plane still needs fuel and no fuel trucks were available at the time. It would be a 30-minute wait.
What the freak? Is everyone here so gosh darn stupid that they can't fuel a plane?
Sir, I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but...
I don't give a freak how sorry you are. This is outrageous.
And then he says something unintelligible. After 45 minutes, we finally get fuel. The plane should have departed an hour and a half ago. It's now almost 10 p.m. A few rows ahead of me was an apparently non-English speaking couple in front of me with their 3-year-old grandson with them. The boy was getting tired and frustrated. He started crying, but he was in his seat, so the plane left the gate. We had been away from the gate less than a minute and he decided to throw a tantrum. He undid his belt and jumped over Grandma and into the aisle and starts to run down the aisle. The attendant sees the lad and notifies the cockpit. The plane stops on the tarmac. Grandma catches the kid and puts him back in his seat with the belt on, which he immediately undoes again and runs screaming up and down the aisle. Grandpa catches him this time and returns him to his seat and puts the belt back on him. He's still screaming and crying, but he's seated. We start moving again for about 2 more minutes when the kid's head pops up over his seat. The attendant calls the pilot again and the plane stops. The angry man is saying many things that I cannot put in this narrative. Grandma gets him again and goes back to the seat, but puts him in her lap. The attendant tries to explain that this is not allowed, but she doesn't understand. Neither does Grandpa. The attendant asks if anyone can communicate with this couple. A few try, but they don't seem to understand. The pilot decides to remove this family from the plane, so back to the gate we go. We wait about 25 minutes for our representative from the airline to come and remove this family. The representative comes to remove the family. All of a sudden, Grandpa gets up and yells,
"What do you mean we have to get off this plane? I paid good money for this flight."
Obviously, no problem with the English. The family was removed and we finally got on our way. It's now 11:45. 15 minutes after the plane was originally slated to land, and it was a 3-hour flight. The attendant began the drink service for the flight after about 30 minutes. Once again, the angry man's leg was once again in the aisle. The poor, frazzled attendant accidentally bumps his leg.
What the freak is wrong with you? This whole gosh darn trip has been a total pile of horse crap. I want your freaking name and your manager's freaking name, etc.
My name is blank, and you can call this number in the morning, but I still need to finish the drink service in the back. Could you please move your leg so I can get by? Angry man moves his leg, but keeps grumbling. He stands up in the aisle.
I'm not finished talking to you yet.
Starts to move down the aisle. I jump into the aisle. I'm tired of this obnoxious fool. Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Who the freak are you?
The person sitting behind you. I just wanted to let you know that you missed a perfect opportunity back there.
What do you mean?
You should have asked the attendant for some cheese.
Cheese? Why would I want that?
To go with the wine you've been having since you got on this plane. Everyone within earshot is now laughing hysterically. Angry man, his face turning red with anger.
I want to know your name. I want to report you to the airlines.
Me, in a voice just above a whisper. Sir, I work for the federal government. You really don't want to know my name, but I would love to know yours. And I smile very nicely. The angry man's face loses all color and he scurries back to his seat and sits down quietly. He politely addressed the attendant as ma'am for the rest of the flight. After we landed and we were getting off the plane, the attendant thanked me for what I did, but wanted to know what I said to him. I winked at her and told her to have a better day tomorrow. I can't believe the angry man actually cooperated. OP never said what they did for the federal government. This kinda escalated. In the little town I live, there's only one hardware store, and since I have quite creative hobbies, I spend a lot of time and money there. At one point, I even got myself a company card for $10,000 a year or more spent. The service in this place is horrible, with management being its own biggest enemy, and workers that are motivated as motivated as an underpaid employee in that crap hole can be. For a cosplay railgun I was building, I was browsing through the metal stuff and looking for something coil-like when I overheard the old lady asking, I need something to lock my basement doors since my neighbor kid keeps stealing stuff out there. The employee downright answers with, we don't have anything to help you, while he stood in front of the freaking padlocks. I chimed in and asked the lady what kind of basement thing it was she wanted to lock, like a door, some barricades, or whatever else. Where I'm from, people are very creative with basements. The employee didn't give a crap about the situation and moved along. I helped the lady. She gave me $100 for it. I didn't want to take it, but she insisted and went on her merry way. I was going to check myself out when an apprentice came up to me. He told me that he just started there a few weeks ago, and even though I didn't work there, he had a difficult customer requesting some very specific stuff on glue. Well, I parked for free at the store anyways, and I was not in a hurry, so I went with him, sold some 2-component metal glue to the other customer, explained the glue terms to the apprentice, and tried to check out once more. The store manager came up and asked,
Who do you work for? We're capable of handling our own customers. Are you from that other hardware store? The one that just opened 5 minutes walk from this location?
The glue guy came up and explained that I was just helping to get customers served, a task their own staff was not capable of. I returned the stuff I was going to buy. I mean, the dude just recommended me a store that couldn't be as bad as this place. When I was younger, I used to work at this video arcade. It had a batting cage, a laser tag, and some other stuff like that. Well, our managers didn't even allow us to say the name of our rival place or we could potentially get fired. Well, customers would come in and say, hey, isn't this the place that has miniature golf? And we would just have to look at them like we had no idea what they were talking about, even though that place was 3 minutes away. Clearly the manager for Glue Guy never gave them that talk. Alright, that's a wrap on this video. I hope you all have an amazing day. If you enjoyed, there should be another video to click on somewhere on the screen, or just subscribe and stay tuned for more episodes. Thanks.